of the Perimeter Challenge, the Pace and Pedal Perimeter Challenge, and also we just finished our Crisscross Virtual Challenge, which is another event that we did, as we all fully anticipate and hope that we can return to in-person running events. These fun virtual challenges have really been our lifeblood and have nurtured our souls and kept us out running for all these many dark months, but things are looking up. Just real quick, our Pace and Pedal Perimeter Challenge is a 36-week challenge that encourages people to run, walk, or bike virtually. Of course, you're actually doing the activities wherever you live and work out, but you are recording your times on a virtual leaderboard that will map, there's 3 routes. One goes all the way around the state of Illinois. That's where we are based here, the Christie Clinic Illinois Marathon team that puts on this event. The full tour of the perimeter of the state of Illinois is 1,268 miles. That's a long way to go in 36 weeks, but it's funny, most of the people who have signed up so far are doing the full perimeter. You can do the half perimeter for 634 miles or the quarter for 317. You can do it solo, or you can be on a team of 2 to 10 people. Our theme for the race, and that's what's led to the guests that we will be chatting with very quickly here for this new virtual challenge, is sustainability. Our subtitle for the event is Taking Big Steps Towards a Smaller Footprint. All of our swag that we are giving away to all of our participants was completely influenced by a decision and a desire to offer sustainable products. And that's how we came up with 3 companies and the gentlemen that are here that are going to tell us about their companies, and led to our first webinar, which we've titled, If Our Swag Could Talk, What Would It Tell Us? So let me quickly introduce our great guests, and then we'll get right down to hearing more about their companies. Let's see, with the green shirt, that's how I'll identify you, by your shirt color. In the green shirt, we have Bill Johnston, who is the co-founder and president of Recover Brands, a North Carolina-based sustainable apparel company. Recover Brands is a mission-driven company that aims to create the best, most environmentally friendly and socially responsible products possible, and to educate and inspire those around us to live and work for a sustainable tomorrow. Recover Brands specializes in manufacturing and marketing apparel and accessories out of 100% recycled materials. Through its co-brand program, Recover offers custom designs and prints on products for businesses, organizations, events, and more. Now, prior to founding Recover in 2010, Bill worked in the outdoor industry, guiding backpacking and mountaineering trips. He's a native of Statesville, North Carolina, and a proud alum of North Carolina State University. And outside of the office, sounds like Bill's outside all the time, because his favorite things to do are mountain bike, ski, run, fly fish, golf, listen to live music. You are a busy guy, I'm sure. So Bill, welcome. We have been doing a lot of emailing as we plan for the Perimeter Challenge. It's nice to finally put a face with a name. So welcome.
Well, likewise, thanks for having me.
You bet. Brian's wearing a hat to distinguish him from Craig and Bill. Brian Goodell's career began with college sports, but quickly transitioned to real estate investment, inventorship, and entrepreneurship. After a promising NCAA Division I career as a wide receiver at Idaho State University, Brian transitioned to Bay Area real estate, apprenticing under real estate mogul Frank Lemby. Eventually, Brian co-invented a patented smokeless tobacco accessory called Dip Tops, building a brand and national distribution network around it, leading to its placement in over 30,000 retail locations all over the country. Brian also formed the company University of Social Commerce to help enterprises navigate burgeoning opportunities on platforms like Groupon. Brian has also been a model, an actor, and a talent agent. And all of these experiences, he says, coalesced with the opportunity to co-found BibBoards. And finally, with the headset on, we have Craig McSaveney, who is the founder of HydraPouch and the inventor of both the HydraPouch personal hydrator and the UltraSpout high-speed dispensing valve. A runner for over 40 years and a triathlete for 30, Craig grew frustrated with the mess, waste, and inefficiency of paper cups at races. He invented his products over 10 years ago to improve hydration for runners and triathletes and reduce waste and cost for organizers. Amen to that. As one of those people, I appreciate that. He has 2 grown daughters, and he lives with his wife and their German Shepherd in Boulder, Colorado. So we are spanning all 4 time zones. We've got Bill on the East Coast. I'm in the Midwest. We've got Craig in the Mountain Time, and we've got Brian out on the West Coast. So let's just dive in. I love birth stories. I love how people get where they, how they got from where they started, and all of your companies, which are all these mission-driven companies, all had a story of how they came into being. So we're going to start by going through and hearing what that birth story is for each of them. So Bill, let's start with you.
Yeah. Well, thanks again for having us, Jan. This is great to be here with everybody today, and we're really excited for the Perimeter Challenge and all that goes with the Illinois Marathon. This is awesome. But to give you some background on Recover, we started in 2010. I was a recent college grad from NC State, as you mentioned before, working in the outdoor industry, and really pretty at that time in my life, I was really got into this from the sustainability side of things. I really was passionate about outdoor sports and environmentalism, and wanted to do something in that field. If you think back to 2010 or 2008 when I graduated, was interesting job market, and so I think I kind of turned into an entrepreneur a lot out of just where we were with in the economy, and the job markets weren't great, and so it kind of got me thinking outside of the box a little bit, and that really led me into pursuing my passion around sustainability and protecting the environment. I also grew up in North Carolina with a family in textiles, so I kind of grew up around it and was in the College of Textiles at NC State. I studied that in environmental policy, so it was a really good combination of interests that got me into Recover. But the big thing that kind of hooked me was the process and turning recycled and materials that would otherwise end up in the landfill in our ecosystems into products that had long-lasting life. So our goal, or our mission from the beginning, has always been to make the most environmentally friendly and socially responsible products possible. And there's also been a big educational piece to our mission as well. We want to educate people about sustainable products and give them alternatives to buy or to support products and companies whose missions align with their beliefs. And so combining all of those things is how we started Recover. Our core products are made with recycled plastics, so post-consumer plastics, as well as post-industrial cotton. So all the plastics that you put into the recycling bin, we're able to break down, reprocess, and turn into a new product that's really high quality, that has long life. And then on the cotton side of things, we're able to take cotton waste that would otherwise end up in the landfill and blend it with recycled polyester to create a 100% recycled garment. That's been our core material since the beginning, but along the way, we've added some new products. For example, we just launched a new U.S. organic line that we're really excited about. We have a 100% poly line that's all made with recycled poly. It's more of a sport moisture wicking fabric. So we have a pretty robust product lineup, but at the end of the day, everything kind of boils down to living our mission and creating products that people can feel good about. And it's a big reason why we're so excited to partner with you guys and kind of that shared ethos behind sustainability and really giving your runners and your participants and all you guys listening in today, a more responsibly made product and something that you can feel good about. That's awesome. And
I know you're gonna walk us through a little bit later how plastic bottles actually become shirts. I do have, because before we decided what we were gonna do with Bill, he sent us samples. So I'm just telling you guys, these things, you'd wrap a baby's bottom in this. It is just so soft, and it's really a miracle to think that this was once like 6 or 8 plastic bottles. So awesome. Thank you for telling us about that. Brian, how about the backstory, the birth story for BibBoards?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jan. I really appreciate it. So kind of the backstory first, this is our product. For those that don't know what it is, that's the front. These happen to be Chicago 26.2. This is actually recyclable paper as well. But yeah, the backstory goes, my business partner, Rob Greenspoon, is an avid marathoner, and the birthplace of this was actually Chicago. And Rob is an avid marathoner, a recreational runner, and in 2009 he called me and said, "Hey Brian, I was just in the stall getting ready to run the Chicago Marathon, and I was fumbling with safety pins and I was stabbing myself and putting holes in my shirt, and Rob was my patent attorney from my previous life, and Rob and I developed a real strong relationship, and he said, Brian, there's a need for this. I'm telling you, it's really a problem. I don't think anybody likes safety pins, and no one likes to put holes through nice shirts like Bill offers, right?" And so I said, "Rob, that's interesting. Let me chew on it. I'm really busy right now. I started with Groupon, Living Social, and all these platforms early in their early stages, and I said, you know what, that's interesting." He says, "Well, when I get my intellectual property, my patent," I said, "Well, yeah, why don't you reach out to me?" So fast forward really quick to 2016, and he reached out to me and he said, "Hey Brian, remember back in 2009, I had that problem with putting holes in my shirt, and he was really afraid to stab himself right through the chest." And I said, "Yeah, I remember that." And he said, "Well, I finally got a patent." I said, "Wow, that's really cool, Rob. Let me think about it again." And I asked my wife, and she was a runner, and she in high school, and she says, "You know, honey, I really don't like safety pins." I said, "Wow, that's, I've heard this again." And my experience was I had done a Spartan race. I actually wore the shirt today, but my first thought when I was going to do a Spartan race in 2014 was, what shirt am I going to run in? Is it going to be comfortable? And can I sustain it for 13.1 miles crawling underneath barbed wire with safety pins through my chest? And so I'm going, I remember when Rob in 2009 said he had a solution. I wish I had that now. So I show up to the Spartan race. I'm about to check in. They're giving me my bib number, and I look down and there's safety pins all over the ground, and there's all over the table. They're all over and I said, wow, I really wish I had that solution. So anyway, I ended up putting safety pins through my shirt that day, and the whole day while crawling underneath barbed wire, I was thinking that one was going to pop open and stab me through the nipple. 2016, sorry, jumping back ahead. So 2016, I said, my wife said, "Well, honey, why don't you really look into this? I think there's something here." So I reached out to I played college football at Idaho State, and I reached out to a friend that I knew was endurance. He was at a registration platform, Charlie Dehoney. I said, "Hey, Charlie, I've got this idea. It's to replace safety pins that are not magnets, no pins, no holes, etc." And he said, "Brian," he said, "I'm at events, and I talked to events.com, and I talked to all these race directors, and first of all, that safety pins nobody likes, they're not sustainable, they're littered all over the course, etc. I'm really interested in helping you with this. Let me ask a friend of mine, a gentleman who was an announcer at Ironman, and come to find out, Rob's idea 7 years later was something in need, I think, for a lot of people. Whether you're a recreational runner and you just do, your local turkey trot, or you're going to run the Illinois, marathon. So yeah, that's the birthplace of it. From idea, conception, a little bit of understanding research. Now, when I do my events, I don't have to worry about getting stabbed at the chest.
Yeah, well, and we're building a swag stack here. We now know that everyone's going to be getting some kind of shirt from Recover Brands, depending on whether you do the full, the half, or the quarter. You have a different shirt option. Hold up those bib boards again, Brian, because ours won't say Chicago 26.2. Ours will have the Pace and Pedal Perimeter Challenge logo on them, and so that'll be one of the proud things that you get to carry forward and use forever and ever. We've got the design already done. In fact, you can see it yeah, you can see the design on our perimeter website page, because we've got it already designed. So I love it. So shirt from Recover Brand, bib boards from BibBoards. Now we're going to go to Craig. Hey, Craig, tell us about your story.
Sure, Jan. So first off, thanks very much for selecting our products as part of your event. We're super thrilled to support you and all of your athletes, and thanks for having me on the webinar today. So our birth story started in 2003. I was at a race outside of the country, and I had done a lot of racing in my lifetime, not competitively. I'm kind of a solid middle of the pack, although drifting towards the back of the pack as I age kind of runner. And I was at this race, and they handed out these weird things at the aid stations. They were like water sausages. They were sealed plastic baggies with water. And at first I thought it was just ridiculous. But then as the race went on, I realized that these things were super convenient. I could grab 2 of them and carry them with me from the aid station. I could sip on them for much, much longer than if I was trying to drink out of a paper cup. But from an environmental perspective, it was a disaster. So there were plastic bags everywhere. This is something that would never, ever happen. I don't think has ever been tried in the US, but it got me thinking, and I'm kind of a slow thinker, so it took a long time to think of a solution that eliminated paper cups, but was as convenient and as, frankly, as effective as those plastic baggies. And so in 2008, after a whole bunch of prototyping and a lot of work with some industrial designers, we came up with the HydraPouch, which is a silicone rubber pouch that opens at the top like a coin purse. So you can pinch it open and fill it quite easily at an aid station. And the original idea, which probably wasn't a great idea, was that we would take a cup and dump the contents into the HydraPouch, and then I could carry it with me and sip out of it. And I could do that for, as much as a half a mile or so. And then when I was done, I could clip it on my shorts and keep on going. And it works great in that mode, and a lot of people use it that way. But when we started talking to race directors about incorporating the HydraPouch in their events, they immediately said, well, how do we get rid of the cups altogether? And that got us working on a high-speed dispensing valve. So all these race directors have Gatorade coolers and Powerade coolers and things like that. But what we found is that teeny weeny little spigot that comes with those things is just too slow to be useful. But if we designed a valve that fit in the same hole and dispensed at about 6 ounces per second, we could turn those aid stations into cup-free self-serve aid stations. And so we did. So we developed the UltraSpout, began marketing it shortly after we introduced the HydraPouch, and race directors used the UltraSpout, frankly, to eliminate cups and volunteers from their aid stations, and runners use the HydraPouch to improve the quality of their drinking experience and reduce the number of cups they use. And we've supported some very large events. We've eliminated cups from races with over 20,000 people. We work with some nationwide series who have been using our products for just about a decade now.
Fabulous. And you have one you can show us?
I do. I have one of each. So let me change my view here. So here's a HydraPouch. Yep. holds 6 ounces. Oops.
There we go. Yep. Oh, there's the coin purse, Techno. Yep. Okay.
There's the coin purse. It's got a little clip on it, so it clips onto your shorts. Carry it comfortably in your hand. You can sip out of it. And 6 ounces is generally enough in a typical road race with aid stations spaced about 2 miles apart or less. So these things are not super useful in the longer trail races where often the aid stations are like 3 miles or more apart. And then I'll show you the UltraSpout real quick. This is the valve that we designed. You push on the paddle, it opens up, and fluid comes out at 6 ounces a second. So you can fill a HydraPouch in 1 second. You can fill a typical handheld plastic bottle in 2 seconds. So that's our products.
I love it. And the actual what you get is super light, so it's not like you're clipping some sort of heavy thing to your shorts. It is like a little over 1 ounce, and of course ours will have the race logo on it. We've already designed that. You can see that on our perimeter website as well. So yeah, and even to speak to the trail runs, maybe you still, when you get there, you come with your own cup, and that gives a certain satisfaction to runners who are really mindful of not contributing to the problem. So I think it's good. And if you haven't had a chance to watch the little video that Craig's company has about, we put it on, it's hilarious, and these people going through the water stations and just dousing themselves with the water because they're trying to run and drink out of a cup at the same time, which is not an easy thing to do. So well, that's really fascinating. Bill, I want to go back to you, and can you tell us kind of the elevator pitch, or how you turn the plastic bottles into a shirt like this? And do you know how many plastic water bottles you guys have eliminated so far? A two-part question.
Absolutely. So for us, the big thing that we try to do when we explain our process is to simplify it as best we can. Just really make it easy for people. So we literally will take your post-consumer waste that you put in the recycling bin. So this is collected through recycling centers all over, and it varies depending on where you live. So each county, city, whoever handles your recycling, oftentimes it's local municipalities that do it. But when the recyclables are brought in, they're taken to those facilities, and then in our case, about 70% of the plastic actually comes from the East Coast, just because there's such a dense population and so much plastic here. But it actually can come from anywhere. So that other 30% could be from overseas. It could be, cleanup from oceans. It could be the West Coast. It could be from anywhere. But to really simplify that process, the best way to think about it and visualize it is to take 8 plastic bottles. So water bottles, Coke bottles, Gatorade bottles, essentially all the number ones that you put in the recycling bin. So think 8 12-ounce bottles. They're collected by these recycling centers, and then we actually bring them into a recycling center that's here in North Carolina that we partner with. And what's done there is they'll bring in truckloads full of recycled plastic. They look like really large bales. So if you go to visit our website, recoverbrands.com, we've got some really good photos and videos under the inside tab of our website that can help explain that process. But think, big 2-ton bales of plastic will come in, and you've got all different colors. Labels are still on there. A lot of the bottles still have residues in there. Think, ketchup inside of a ketchup bottle, all that kind of stuff. But that's okay. That's perfectly fine. And we actually hear that a lot. Like, the bottles have to be, perfectly cleaned beforehand. And the answer is no. There can still be residues in the bottles because they go through a really stringent washing process. So think about these big bales of plastic coming in, and then the bottles are actually washed over 3 times on average. So they go through these big pools of water where they're washed and cleaned, stripped of all the bottles and caps, because obviously the paper wrap packaging on here is not part of that process. So they're cleaned, stripped down of all those materials, and then sorted by color. So the type of plastic that we use is this clear plastic here, which is basically all the number. If you look on any recyclable material, you're going to see a numbering system. So oftentimes that's 1 through 7. Generally speaking, the higher the number, the lower grade plastic it is, or the less recyclable it is. So we actually use the number 1s, which is PET, which you'll commonly see. So again, that's water bottles, Coke bottles, Gatorade bottles. But we take the bottles, wash them, sort them by color, and then we actually chop them down into these really fine flakes. So I'll try to get that in front of my camera if you guys can see that.
Can you just kind of pull a little bit out with your hand so it's like
I'm going to drop a few there. So it's basically just chopped up plastic bottles. So they're ground into these really fine flakes, and then the flakes are then melted into these little plastic balls. So they kind of look like Dippin' Dots, but it's literally just a little plastic ball.
Okay.
These balls of plastic are then extruded. So, we get the question all the time, well, what is extrusion? And all types of products go through the extrusion process. But for us, what that means is the plastic balls are basically go into a cone or funnel-like device that comes out almost like a shower head on the other side. And on that other side is polyester yarn. So you can see it kind of looks like dental floss. It's just recycled polyester yarn. And I think one of the things that a lot of people don't quite understand is that polyester or synthetic fabrics are actually petroleum or plastic based to begin with. And so we're actually just using recycled plastic instead of virgin plastics. And so when you think about it in that context, if you're comparing it to other products, other performance wear that's on the market, we're able to create quality that's, identical, if not better than you would get with virgin polyester. So there's no sacrifice in quality by using recycled versus virgin polyester. So for our sport line, which is 100% polyester, we take the recycled poly, we knit it into fabric, and then we button sew it into a garment. So like the shirt that I'm wearing is what we call our sport polo, and that's made with 100% recycled PET. So it's 100% polyester. Our classic tees, which you're going to see with the hoodies that are being offered, long sleeve shirts, a couple different options. We actually take that recycled polyester fiber and blend it with recycled cotton. So this is what the recycled cotton fiber looks like. And the best way to visualize this is other manufacturers, when they're cutting sewing garments or during their manufacturing process, they always have waste, and typically that waste is just sent to the landfill. There's in other forms, people just haven't found a use for it. And so what we do is we go in and collect that recycled cotton material, sort it by color, and then blend it with the recycled polyester to create a 50-50 blend. And the result is taking this recycled cotton, blending it with the polyester fiber, and then we have, sorry, I'm trying to get these in front of the camera, this recycled green yarn here. And
yeah,
so,
that's the color that we're doing right here.
this is actually the same color that's going to be used in the, sorry, I'm off on my camera. The same color is going to be used in the shirts. And so one of the cool things from an environmental standpoint when you're looking at that process is all of the color actually comes from the recycled cotton. So in addition to being made with 100% recycled materials, we avoid the dyeing process entirely. And so that saves a ton on water and energy. And if you're looking at the overall environmental footprint of a garment, it's not just about the material that goes into it. We try to quantify water savings, energy savings, carbon emissions, and then of course bottle diversion as well when you're thinking about recycled plastics. So we try to take a full 360-degree approach to everything and think about the entire environmental footprint. And so if you're, to give you an example of how we quantify that, if you again visit our website and go to that inside tab, we've got some really cool tutorials in terms of how we make the product, videos, photos, all that sort of thing. But you can also see a scorecard. So we're able to essentially take the impact of all the shirts we've ever made. We can do them for the Pace and Pedal Perimeter Challenge as a whole. We can do it for an individual shirt order, but you can see how many bottles you're diverting from the landfill, which on average is 8 bottles per shirt. How many, your reduction in carbon emissions or greenhouse gas emissions, which is so important from a sustainability aspect, is just reducing greenhouse gas emissions, and then water savings and energy savings. So we really try to think about all different aspects of it. And if you look at our overall impact, on the website we have our 2020 end of year numbers published, but we're already over 13 million bottles diverted from the landfill. And so you can really look at that over time. It really starts adding up. And when you factor in some other variables of the materials that we're using to make the products, and then also combined with our local manufacturing, we really try to cut down as many carbon emissions as possible. And that's another big thing that you'll see with our products. By doing all of this localized, one of our shirts travels on average just 250 miles from start to finish. So if you think about it in that context, we can drive our supply chain in one day, and you can see the product going from raw material all the way to finished goods in just that 250-mile radius. To give you an idea for comparison, a similar shirt that maybe it's made with recycled materials, or maybe it's just an average shirt, made in Asia would travel 17,000 miles before it hits the end consumer. So when you think about the materials that go into it, along with the supply chain and reducing carbon emissions, we really just try to make it as environmentally friendly from start to finish as possible.
Just fantastic. I can't wait to see what the numbers are for how many bottles we divert and all those other numbers once we know how many runners we'll have. So that's awesome. Brian, tell us a little, I want to make sure people understand how the BibBoards work. Can you pull your sample back out and show us the simple technology? Because they're going to get them pretty soon. So there's
so there's the front. We did these for actually Wonder Woman. But yeah, you take the front and the back. It has a little stem, and you can hear a snap and lock.
Got it. And so through the hole in the front of your bib and in the back of your shirt.
Simply snap
and lock. And you guys have tested this on every kind of shirt known to man and woman, and you know that it doesn't do any harm, no holes, maybe a dent for a little bit, and then you're done.
Yeah, that was the first thing we had to make sure that it didn't happen was holes, right? And we couldn't have what we have today. But yeah, we tested on so many fabrics, very soft, recyclable shirts. I put them through a North Face jacket at an expo at Beta Breakers. This guy, it was really cold out and he's running by the water. He says, "Will this go through?" And I was, well, why don't you try it? So yeah, it went through North Face jacket. It goes through all kinds of what I like to call breathable fabrics, athletic fabrics, something that you're willing probably to run in, ride in, walk in, something. Yeah, so I mean, it's probably 500 different garments. We supply Lululemon because they have their own race. They didn't want to put holes in their garments. So yeah, that and another thing is we want to make sure it wouldn't chafe. So if you're only doing a 3.1 or you're going to run an Ironman like Craig, we want to make sure that it wasn't going to bounce and rub on your skin. And because it's made from a smooth nylon code 6 plastic, it's very, very lightweight. And we haven't had one review. We've just hit 17,000 reviews. We're about to get our 14,500 badge. Not one it's fallen off. Not one it's chafed. So yeah, snaps and locks. That's the patented technology.
Snap and lock. Yeah. Tell us about your material sourcing, because I know that also isn't just any old. You talked about the 6 nylon. Is that what you called it?
Yeah, it's code 6 nylon, and Bill took all the goodies, but a lot of the stuff that we go through the same process, Dippin' Dots, the whole bit. So code 6, 99.9% of the cities in North America will accept it as recyclable. We're almost to it 100%. I mean, we're pretty much there, but yeah, we had to go through rigorous testing. I'm in California, Proposition 65. So we supply a lot of corporations that have rules and regulations of products that they can buy here in the state. So it basically requires us to provide warnings that no chemicals that can cause cancer or birth defects or reproductive harm are in our products. So we actually had to send our product out to be lab tested, and they came back, and so we were approved. And yeah, so between code 6, nylon plastic, it's very durable, it's premium, and yeah, we did that because we want it to be reusable. So if you're going to do multiple events throughout the year, I've had people, tell me they've ran 50 different events with the same set. So they'll last, and people are collecting them. So on the flip side of that is we found, just like my example of the Spartan race that I was experiencing, safety pins end up all over the race, all over the cities. I mean, I can't say I'll go anywhere down a race course, just walking, not even during a race, and I'll be like, I'll be able to see safety pins. I'll point to my wife and my kids, and I go, see, look what's going on here. It's sitting in the drain, so.
Yeah, well, and you and I were talking about this yesterday. People accessorize with their bib boards. They don't just have, one pair. They've got, there's, you can customize them. You can put all kinds of sayings. I know at the Illinois Marathon, we sell bib boards in our store for our Illinois Marathon race weekend. And there's like, run strong and finish strong. I mean, so there's a lot of statements that you can say and to feel that power that's part of your person, moving through that race course. I think it just adds to the strength that people have when they're in a race. And so I love the fact that you can have, you could have one pair, like you said, that'll last forever, but you can also accessorize with them, which I think is, for women, I think that matters actually.
Yeah. That's one of the encouraging things about it is on our store, you can log on and in 3 seconds, you can upload a picture of your family, your cats, your dogs, your past race. But yeah, we've had some people order over 30 times and come back. And so there's a collector case that we give out a lot. So yeah, I mean, that's expressing yourself in this community. It's such a positive, fun environment to be in, to work in, to partake in. Yeah, being able to express yourself, we found is what people want to do.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that this, perimeter event, which is, our normal Christie Clinic Illinois Marathon weekend, 3 days, 7 events, upwards of 18, 20,000 people. This is going to be a few thousand people for the perimeter turns. How cool would it be if in 2022, gosh, everybody in our race got a pair of Illinois Marathon race weekend bib boards? That would be terrific. But I do want to pivot over to Craig with a different direction. I mean, as positive as we all feel that we're starting to see the other side of this pandemic, we are still in it. So Craig, I was just wondering, has the pandemic created more demand for your products? And in the bigger picture, how is the pandemic, I'm always looking for silver linings. I think there's been a lot of suffering, loss of life, awful, but there's also been some good things that have come out of it. How has it specifically impacted what you guys do?
Well, that's a great question, Jan, and there's definitely been a silver lining for us. So our 2 products, our HydraPouch and our UltraSpout, serve for the first 10 years of the company, one little market, and that's races and race directors. And when the pandemic hit, all of our sales of HydraPouches stopped instantly. So everything, all races stopped, all sales stopped. So we had a number of race directors who had purchased in advance for the year. Their races all stopped, and so they didn't reorder at any point during the year. So we thought it was going to be a pretty slow year, and it turned out to be our biggest year that we've had in the last 10 years. And that's largely because the UltraSpout, let me back up one step. We have a partner called Water Monster based out in Texas, and Water Monster makes hydration solutions for events, including races. And so Water Monster has been outfitting their big Water Monster tanks with our UltraSpouts for quite some time. And the Water Monster folks thought, and they were right, that there would be a big opportunity for touch-free hydration solutions coming out of the pandemic. And so they worked hard to develop a foot pedal actuator that operates UltraSpout with a foot pedal. And so between their foot pedal operator and our UltraSpout, we sold tens of thousands of UltraSpouts into colleges, high schools, and that sales pace has continued and frankly is accelerating even now. And so we've opened up whole new markets with the UltraSpout, and the UltraSpout is now selling way better than the HydraPouch has for us. And so it's been I feel slightly kind of self-consciously guilty about this, but it's been awesome.
That's fabulous. Again, I mean, I think hydration stations of the future will look vastly different than what we've had, and so proof positive by that anecdote. Brian, any specific impact of the pandemic for BibBoards?
Yeah, I experienced probably like most, right? Just like Craig explained, we races stopped, so therefore no one needed any bibs and nobody needed any BibBoards to secure. We did have some virtual races that were sending out bibs. So yeah, what we did, I actually ended up going on Instagram and finding some of our endurance fans using our product, some doctors, some nurses using our product as a mask snap and hook. And so what that looks like, it's BB snaps. You can see some of the ones we've done. And it's to alleviate ear pressure when wearing a mask. And so I don't have it on my hat now, but just picture this here.
Right. Yep.
And I saw it on Instagram, and I pinged him. He was an oral surgeon, and he was an Ironman, and he said, Brian, I beat you to the punch. I've been using this for 6 months in surgery. And I said, wow, that is really cool. And so Rob, our patent attorney, reached out to him, and I said, hey, how would you like to be the inventor of this product? And so we pivoted quickly to BB snaps to alleviate ear pressure when wearing a mask, and that raw rub that you get. And then you can do the perfect fit. So we started supplying a group called Sew Away Corona, which is 10,000. It was ladies, moms, girls that were sewing for frontliners. They were doing buttons before. So I started picking up these calls, and they were saying, hey, my wife just sewed her 500th scarf and headband. She's not going to do it anymore. I've used your product in the past. Can I order, from you guys with a logo on it? So we pivoted January, February, March. It was end of March of 2020. And we started just putting it out there. And yeah, we did Kaiser and Cedar Sinai and Boeing Airlines. And it was just, like, I feel guilty like him because I had a lot of friends that were restaurateurs that had lost everything. And they saw that I had lost everything, and I was trying to figure a way to survive and pivot. And yeah, we're still selling them, and we sell them online and to a lot of frontliners, a lot of scrubs.com and so on. So we were able to pivot to BB snaps.
Like pivot is the word of the year. I'm surprised it wasn't on the cover of Time magazine. Man of the year. No, let's have a word of the year. Pivot. It's almost like it's like a 4-letter word now. Like, don't say pivot. No.
I pivoted.
Yeah.
It's a basketball term.
We've all done it, and we keep doing it. Bill, anything of note for Recover Brands?
Yeah, I mean, like everyone, we were forced to pivot throughout, over the last year, but we've been fortunate that we sell to a variety of different channels. Events have always been really big for us with, obviously running races and outdoor events. We do a lot in the music industry with festivals, touring bands, that sort of thing. So that sector of the business, came to a kind of a screeching halt. But we had other customers that were, really involved on the more on e-commerce side of things, and a lot of that business actually accelerated and really picked up throughout the pandemic. Internally, we've focused a ton on doing more drop shipping and fulfillment programs. So we've seen some really cool things in the running industry where, virtual events have really picked up. And yeah, they might not be as big as the event was, previously, but there is a really great way to engage with the community. And from what we can offer, we're able to drop ship directly to those customers and help, keep those virtual experiences going. So we've seen a lot of positives from that side of things. And I think that there's going to be a really nice kind of recipe especially as we, added more products and services into our repertoire as we are moving out of the pandemic. We just have more that we can offer. The other big thing that has been a real silver lining for us is our local supply chain. And if anything, we really just doubled down more so on local manufacturing and making things where we can control everything right here in our backyard. And so there's been a ton of supply chain issues in the apparel and footwear industries with just really long lead times. Shipping's been really backed up. Just a whole lot of issues that we've actually been in a position where, because we make it locally and we're able to produce things more in real time and faster, we've actually been in a spot where we can respond to customers a little bit quicker, and that's been a real positive. Plus the fact that I think in general people are just more and more in tune with sustainability, where their products are made, how their products are made, and we're able to provide that transparent story and product. And I think that's been another positive trend for us as a company. And of course, like Craig and Brian said, certainly really feel for other industries that weren't able to pivot and adapt quite as well. But we've definitely seen some positive signs through those things.
Yeah, I mean, a big part of my motivation with the I guess the vibe of this event is kind of a reset for people. I think about, even though probably all of us have exercised more than we normally could. I know I have. I'm working out like twice a day because I need it, but it's just a little more flexible without having to travel into an office. And there's more. It's like you're working all day long. Who cares if you spend 2 hours at either end exercising? But now we're sort of coming kind of back out of I call it the COVID cave. And it's really nice to remind people that we inherit this earth and we need to take really good care of it. So I'm very just personally excited about the fact that this event is just going to sort of subtly remind people, well, not so subtly, very quite proactively remind them that we only get one earth and we got to take care of it. So just to wrap things up, I want to go back to you, Craig. What do you see sort of in the next few years, your goals for your company? And then I'll ask you guys the same question.
Well, we're, again, we're kind of like a little two-trick pony here. And so I don't imagine that we're going to add any new products, but my hope is that the racing community and the races come back online, and that to your, I think, previous point, that hydration stations start to look differently, and that people start to look for no-touch hydration solutions. Mm-hmm. And I think slowly over time that cup-free racing will continue to take hold in this country. And that's what we've been all about for 12 years now, is cup-free racing. And it's been kind of a slow progression, but I think the pandemic might have the kind of interesting side effect of accelerating cup-free racing, which I think will be good for our business. It'll be good for the environment, and it will be good for participants and race directors.
Yeah. Brian, how about for you?
We believe that there's roughly about 200 million safety pins a year worldwide, 50 million participants. We had set a goal, it's called TMG, it stands for 10 million gone. And our goal was to get rid of 10 million safety pins. Well, we hit that goal. We had a goal to get into 100 races. We hit that goal, and in our first year, and then finally we got into about 1,000 races. And there's still a lot more events to go. We've had roughly about 200 100,000 people using our product currently. And
Okay.
we hope by 2023, this is a lofty goal, that we'll get rid of safety pins altogether, and that people can become, use our product and collect them, share them, kind of like the Crocs, the gibbets. You remember that thing on your shoe? This is to accessorize, to express yourself. But yeah, the goal is to get rid of safety pins altogether.
Awesome.
By 2023.
And then to round out the end here, Bill, how about for you?
Yeah, we're trying to stay, super focused on making the best, most environmentally friendly products we can. We're certainly always trying to improve our current product lineup and supply chains, but also adding in some new products. And so we feel like over the next couple of years, especially with the growing consumer awareness around sustainability, that we're really just trying to get in front of as many people as we can and continue to fulfill our part of our mission, which is to educate and inspire people to live and work for a more sustainable tomorrow. And we feel like we can use our brand and our products as a vehicle to help do that. It's kind of that light bulb moment for people, whether you're 8 years old or 80 years old, when the light bulb kind of goes off and you understand, oh wow, this shirt's 100% recycled. It's made from 8 plastic bottles, and we see it all the time. And so we're just trying to continue to get in front of as many folks as we can and help people realize that those choices that they make as individuals do make an impact. And I think ultimately, if we get more and more people thinking that way and making consumer decisions that way, it's going to have a big impact. And so yeah, we're trying to stay focused on that and continue to spread the word.
Well, I can't thank you guys enough for being on. I am so excited to be working with all 3 of your companies and you all individually. This was a great first webinar. And as I told you guys, we will be, Sue will send a link out, but then we also will it'll be posted on our Illinois Marathon YouTube for posterity, and we will produce it, publicize it widely, send you guys the link and do the same. But again, I want to thank Bill Johnston, Brian Goodell, and Craig McSaveney from Recover Brands, BibBoards, and HydraPouch and the UltraSpout. There we go. And you guys stay well, and I'll be in touch with all of you. And Sue at the backside, Human Kinetics, thank you again so much. And we'll see you again for another webinar sometime in the next month or so. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Jen.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you later. Good job, guys. Thank you.
Thanks.